Andrew Green, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. You in your headquarters? Is that the?
I mean, this is it. Do I need to change anything up?
No, man. You look good. You look like you're a man about town doing some serious business.
That's
So,
that's me.
yeah, that's you. So
Is my
that's where all the suddenly Susan residual checks went, huh? Right.
Hopefully they're in this pile here. I don't know. I haven't looked through it yet, but
There you go.
yeah.
Do you check your mailbox every day?
I try to, but yeah, I mean, sure. I,
Do you
I, I
still
kind
get
of peek
checks for
in.
that stuff? Do you still get checks for that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, there's paper with, you know, some tiny numbers on it, but for Suddenly Susan at this point. But yeah, I mean, still do, yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, think about that. That's how long ago? It's
Mm.
25 years,
It
25,
doesn't.
26 years
It
ago.
doesn't feel that long ago. Actually, it doesn't feel that long ago. To be totally honest with you.
Well, that's
Um,
because you watch Suddenly Susan uh, marathons on TV Land.
I can't help myself, man. I know greatness when I see it, and it's addictive.
Yes. By the way, is TV Land, does TV Land even exist?
I hope it still exists someplace because, man, it was a cool channel back in the 90s. I mean,
I've,
that's
I've
where I
heard.
saw all my Taxi reruns. Seriously, I saw my Hill Street Blues there. It was almost like a Smithsonian of quality television. And
Totally.
every night they would just pump it into your house. It was great, and it was really good because I'd be up in the middle of the night, so like from like midnight to 5 in the morning, you had all these great shows you could watch. Anyway, enough about that. I know you're going to the mailbox looking for a Christmas Carol check
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're going to appreciate this one because I actually brought in someone with some talent to today's show. He's looking over his shoulder, somewhat mystified, but he is not only the architect of some of your favorite television programs, he was one of the key elements in a Combat Radio's Christmas Carol for a Cure that brought a lot of laughs. And I will say, in addition to the laughter, he was super fun to work with, super professional writer, producer Andrew Green. How are you, buddy?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Sun is
I
shining.
The sun is shining. I should actually point out to the audience that I sent you a text message today saying, "Still good for 3 o'clock?" And the response I got back was, "Sadly, yes."
Well, you might you'll reassess your decision of asking me to do this, I'm sure, in about half an
Hey,
hour.
I don't think that for a second. You're not only a fun guy to work with because we did do a Christmas Carol together. You're a fun guy to have lunch with because we had you and Mark Brazil created that '70s show and like a sort of a traditional like pre-event kind of lunch, last minute kind of candid kick around, and you guys were hilarious. I think it was like a 4 hour lunch, excruciating to you, but super fun for me.
TV writers will do anything for free pancakes.
Did you happen to catch the Oscars?
I I did. Yeah, sort of. I went to an Oscar party that I go to annually, but this year watched it, but I didn't really hear it.
So you were at an Oscar party, you watched it, and whose was it? Was it Elton John's party again this year?
No, it wasn't Elton John's. It was my friend Alex Litvax, who's a very talented writer.
Yeah, you and Elton still have that thing, and
Yeah, yeah.
you're not back on the guest list yet.
Well, it's David. David has a problem with me,
Yeah,
so he doesn't like me around the house. But
yeah.
Elton's cool.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear it. I didn't watch it either. I haven't really watched it in years, but I will go back and look at moments that I think, well, that are interesting to me, like the Oscars remembers. We do something similar to Christmas Carol, actually. And speaking of which, we just lost a mutual collaborator that we all had a lot of respect for, Gary Donzik.
Yeah, yeah,
And you, I think, worked with him very closely. He
yeah.
was one of the heroes who helped my daughter out and a partner of Stephen Peterman on Hannah
Yep.
Montana. Was that what they co-developed? Was that their big?
And, well, they did Murphy Brown together,
Mm,
and won a zillion Emmys, which Peterman likes to brag about all the time.
yes,
And then they did Suddenly Susan together, and then they did the beginning of Hannah Montana together. And then Gary was like, "I've had enough of this shit. I'm gonna go move to New Mexico and have a good life." So
and he did do that.
he did.
Take it, take it to the beginning with you. Like, when did you decide, hey, I'm going to do this writing thing? And Where was it Danzig and Peterman that were the first to really hire you, or go back to the beginning?
No, but okay, real quick. Came from a showbiz-ish family,
Yeah.
but my mom was an actress. My dad was like a nightclubby guy, owned a circus, grew up on the East Coast, came out here.
Wait,
Um,
wait. I'm sorry. Your
okay,
dad owned a circus?
yeah, the Emmett Kelly Jr. Circus. So
That's incredible. That's an incredible credit.
yeah, so what owning a circus, at least for my dad, was he had the name, he represented the clown, and then he would just hire acts, and they'd, wherever they were going, he'd find acts, and they were under the banner of the Emmett Kelly Circus. Best story about that though was when I was, I'm going to say 8 or 9 or 10, and we lived in Englewood, New Jersey, and the circus happened to be in town. They were doing a circus nearby, and my dad, of course, didn't want to pay for an empty lot to park all the trailers. So they all parked at our house on the lawn and on the driveway. So we had lions and acrobats and chimpanzees and unfortunately a bunch of other animals that probably weren't being treated as well as they should have. But I was 11 or 10. I didn't know any better. So that was one of the greatest days of my childhood. But
Yeah.
yeah, so dad owned a circus.
Very, very impressive. So from there, you kind of pick up some showbiz vibes, I would
Yeah, so
guess.
it's like, yeah, so I went to I grew up in New York. I went to UCLA. I was done. I was like, well, now what do I do? I had no idea. So I ended up in a big agency mailroom and was figured I'd be an agent. And
What agency was it?
it was William Morris before it was WME. Yeah, it was William
Now,
Morris.
it's funny. I actually applied to be in that mailroom too in 2000 before I
Okay.
got the mailroom job at Warner Brothers that launched me there. But did you enjoy that?
Oh no, it's fucking horrible. I mean,
No.
it was really bad. It was no, it wasn't really bad. I mean, I made some good friends, but it was tough. It was just cutthroat, and I just didn't have the chops for it. The I ended up on a desk of this great guy. I mean, I really like him, an agent named Mark Itkin, and it was just I had no way. I was in way over my head. And he called me in one day, and I think he liked me as a person. I wasn't a great assistant. He said, "There's something that needs to be done today." I'm like, "Great, what is it?" He goes, "You should know what it is." And I said, "Oh." And he said, "And if it's not done by the end of the day, we're going to have a conversation." I had absolutely no idea. And at the end of the day, he said, "Well, actually, this is kind of funny." He's like, "I just don't know if you're cut out for this." He was in the TV syndication business and packaging shows. He goes, "Maybe you'd be better off on a talent desk," which I thought was really funny. It was like, "Oh, you're a shitty assistant. You're dumb. Go work for a talent agent." But anyway, I left there and ended up actually at Warner Brothers working as an assistant at Silver Pictures.
Oh, you're kidding me. What year?
No, I want to say around, is it possible 2000-ish? Or no, it was
So,
before that. It was somewhere in the 90s. I was working for Michael Levy, if you remember him.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that
But
was
you
so.
have a different expression on your face than I do from knowing him remotely. What's the
Oh, I mean, he was a tough guy. I don't know. I mean, he was very. You watching this, Michael? It's time you're getting your comeuppance. No, he was just a not a good uh, guy to work. He was tough. He was tough,
oh,
and was interested in. Um, yeah, it was tough. It was a tough gig. Didn't last that long. I quit. I remember I quit. Like he broke me. I'd never been broken really in any part of my life before or since, but he broke me, and I quit, and I took the Rolodex. And back then, it was a real Rolodex,
yeah,
and because it was like I don't know if I took it intentionally or if I had it at home because I was working at home, all hours. But it was this incredible Silver Pictures Rolodex that had the little cards, and it was like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, home, car, yacht, da da da.
yeah.
And they said, "We will pay you an extra week's salary if you return the Rolodex."
And you, from your agency days, say, no, that'll be 2 weeks.
Well, that's why I wasn't a good agent because had I said that, I probably would have been still back at the agency. No, I was like, great. It was like $690 for the week. I was like, it's worth it. I kept a few cards that had some
Yeah.
personal meaning,
Well,
but
just
yeah,
copy it all down. Just write it all down on a sheet and then return it for your pay. Now,
it's too
did you
lazy.
like working for Silver? Did you like him or no?
I didn't work for Joel much. He was in and out. I didn't see him much. Michael, who was his president at the time,
Yeah.
was the guy I worked for. And yeah, I'll tell you, yeah, yeah.
So
Um,
I don't know if this coincides because I think Suddenly Susan was before. Wasn't that before 2000?
no, so yes. Yeah. So I worked for Silver, I think maybe it was mid to late 90s. It
Yeah,
was
because
right
I
before it was right before that.
but I do remember when I started at Warner Brothers, I would deliver packages there. And the guy, he had the best outer office, actually, Silver. There was like a Predator in there, and there was a pinball machine with his picture on it, of course.
Hmm.
And there was a guy that you would drop everything off to who ran like the front of house, and he was great. He was fantastic. And now that you're telling me these stories, I do picture you doing that job, but I don't think our timelines are right because that would have been
Yeah, I think I was
2002.
earlier. It might have been like 93 or 4 possibly. Does that
Mhm.
make more sense?
You've tried to block it out up until now.
I honestly I haven't thought about this in a million years. I'll tell you what, at the time, sorry, I keep hitting the computer. George Huang was there, he was Barry Josephson's assistant, and he ended up writing Swimming with Sharks,
Hmm.
based on that experience. So he was there, Barry was there, Michael was there. Yeah. So
Now,
I
what
don't exactly.
can I ask you? Like, let's press the brakes on the Silver conversation. I want to come
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to that.
yeah, yeah.
But swimming with sharks,
Let's not come back to it. Yeah, go on.
swimming with sharks. If we do come back to it, it'll be in a harmless. I mean, I saw Swimming with Sharks and I thought, oh, this will be classic because we've been waiting for a movie that is about us assistants or mailroom guys. Like, I can't believe no one did a series on the mailroom at a studio. And I
Right.
remember suggesting it, and the studio was like, no, no, we don't like movies about ourselves.
Too
And now that's
inside.
all they do. It seems to,
Right.
but
Although it's
Swimming with
weird, like the studio, right? Won more, at least got nominated for the most Emmys in history. And then still people are like, we're not sure we want to do
yeah,
insider series anymore. But go on. Sorry.
right. Um, Swimming with Sharks, though, I really had a problem with them trying to justify Kevin Spacey's character for the reason Kevin Spacey was, instead of for the reason most of these guys are terrible people and terrible to work for, which is they just suck as human beings. And that's, you can attribute that or break that down however you want to.
Hmm.
Not to sound like Dr. Tony Grant, but it's like,
Dr. Tony Grant.
yeah, but you know how it is. It's like, but they're just, some of them are just awful people. And that's the thing. Our business attracts broken people because they think through fame and fortune they can become whole again. But the thing about Swimming with Sharks is like they had this whole backstory that just like robbed us of like just make the guy be a fucking total prick. And that's the
Right.
movie. And
Right.
at the end, this guy gets promoted and he becomes a better human being or whatever it is. But did you like Swimming with Sharks? I guess that's my roundabout question.
I mean, my take was really personal because I can't remember which they were, but there were 3 lines that were verbatim out of my boss's mouth to me. And they were so like specific that there was definitely, he had said, I believe, and I don't want to misquote the guy, but I think he said that he had made the character a combination of Joel first, first and foremost, Michael and Barry. And there
Mm.
was like pieces of all of them that formed that character. But there was, I really enjoyed it because it was like, it just felt like, oh, wow, I lived this and this is kind of cool. And it was also, early on in my life out here. And it was just kind of cool to see something that I had been a part of immortalized, whatever.
I guess so. Do you get a
I mean, I
special
haven't watched
credit
it in a
on it?
million years. What?
Do you have a special credit on it? Are you
I have
referenced in it
nothing.
anywhere?
No, no. I was one of so many. I think I lasted there 4 months or 6 months or something. Oh
Yeah.
shit, that was.
Well, it was a shooting gallery for young people trying to get in the business. I mean, they got blown through doors and windows in that building. It was rough.
Yeah.
I was ultimately stationed when I got into feature development right next to him, building 66. I would see him walking around, Joel walking
Mhm.
around in like what I thought were pajamas every day. You know what I'm talking about? Like he
Yeah,
wore
yeah,
like
yeah. like a matching sort of
Yeah.
like not moo but like yeah, kind of
Yeah. And I was like,
like he was
that's
in
funny because
Bangladesh or something.
yeah. And we'd see him wearing that. We'd always be like, hey, where's our pajamas? He's like, you gotta wait till the holidays, kid, or something. He'd say. But who else walked around in their pajamas at Warner Brothers was Aaron Sorkin. He was in his pajamas all the time.
Oh,
But
really?
he was in his pajamas for a different reason because he hadn't changed out of them for days, you know. But right around the West Wing days, Sorkin, we would see him just kind of walking around in these pajamas. Well, it actually looked like he had dove into a dumpster in his pajamas and climbed out and didn't bother to change the pajamas.
Well, times were
But
tough then, he was,
yeah,
yeah.
the residuals on A Few Good Men weren't what they had hoped, what he
Right.
had hoped they would. He appears in that too, by the way. I don't know if you knew that or if you even care,
Uh,
but
I
I
care,
mean,
but
he makes no.
I don't know
So
that.
so you get this job and you think you yourself have talent to contribute. So when did you start putting yourself or positioning yourself to be a writer?
Okay, so after after Silver, I ended up working for a TV writer. I just grabbed an assistant job at Disney, and I worked for a writer who had an overall deal there. And his deal was coming to an end, and I was like, I have zero idea what I'm going to do. People said I was kind of funny, and so a friend and I wrote a spec script. We wrote a spec episode of Friends. We got signed by CAA. We got sent out for six shows. We got like five offers. It was great. It was like, bam, on all of a sudden I was a writer. I had no experience. My partner at the time had been writing since, high school and had written some plays and stuff. So, and he was an old friend. So that was it. I jumped on, and then I jumped on a couple of Disney sitcoms that were created by Michael Jacobs, if you know who he is. He was really prolific, really funny. He created Charles in Charge when he was like 9 years old.
Okay.
He was in his 20s. So he did Charles in Charge and My Two Dads and Dinosaurs and the Torkelsons, and he had a bunch of shows.
Wow.
So did a couple of shows with him, and then went on to Suddenly Susan which is where I met Danzig and Peterman.
Because they saw greatness. They could sense those two can sense greatness.
We were
Wait,
just good in the meeting. We fooled them.
no doubt you are very good in a meeting. I can testify to that. Let me ask you, going back, so
Yeah, yeah.
you decide, hey, I'm pretty funny. You can write. I think I can figure this writing thing out. Let's write a spec script. So you
Hmm.
have this script. How long did it
Hmm.
take you to write it? Week, 2 weeks?
I would say
What was the storyline? Do you remember what the
probably a
storyline was,
couple of
Jerry?
weeks. Oh, fuck. No, but Rick would.
Okay.
He remembers
Okay.
everything. So
So you're pretending to not remember your storyline, but you
no,
do
I
complete the
truly don't.
script.
I don't remember anything.
So yeah, I should point out to the audience that Andrew had a very rough experience at A Christmas Carol, and whenever he now has psychologically learned to block anything out from his memory that I'm associated with or ask him about.
Right.
Um, but you write the script, and and how do you get it to friends to kind of get going and ultimately get signed? Like, how did
Well,
that
we didn't
part?
get it to Friends because it was just a sample episode. They wanted to see that you could,
Okay.
at least at that point in time, they wanted to see that you could write for an existing show that's on the air and show the type of show you wanted to do. So we picked Friends because that
Mhm.
was, I think we did try to get on Friends, and at one point, oh yeah, we had a meeting there and they didn't hire us. But yeah, we used,
Please, please tell me your meeting was with Jeff Astroff.
oh no. Jeff was where we were at that point. Jeff was in the same boat. No, it was with Kevin Bright. And we snuck in. We broke into, we didn't break in, but we were on the same lot doing, I think it was Suddenly Susan, and we kind of went in and like, hey, and he was like, good for you. I admire your moxie. And we didn't get hired. But
But you get this, so
yeah.
you send the spec
So
script
we
to
sent, so
CAA.
we knew we had a friend who worked at CAA
Hmm.
and a friend who was an assistant, and the assistant sent it up to some agents and they read it and liked it. I think it was easier back then.
It was easier back then, I think, but you guys get this thing going. CAA says we're going to set you up with a couple of meetings. In your first meeting,
Yep.
do they coach you up and say, "Here's what you should do," or say they
No,
just send, or they send you
no,
out?
no, no.
Be yourself.
Yeah,
And
just like
do you
go
remember who
in.
your meetings were with?
I remember some of the shows. There was a show called DAG, which was David Allen Greer's show, hence DAG.
He was funny.
There was the show Misery Loves Company, which is a show we ended up on, which was a sitcom about like four guy friends, three of whom were divorced and one who was in a not so great marriage, just, you know,
Perfect. Perfect for
like
you.
men of a certain age-ish type thing, just whatever. Uh not Veronica's Closet. A bunch. I don't, gosh, there were six. We met on six shows. I think I can't remember exactly.
Are you still working as assistant at this time?
I know I was out of work.
Okay.
I had finished my gig. I think my gig had ended maybe, yeah, like within like a couple of months.
Because you seem responsible. You don't seem like one of those guys that like, hey, I just got signed by CAA. I'm out of here.
Um,
You know,
yeah, I mean, it's less responsibility than just like utter fear of, being
uh,
on the street. So,
so when you get hired on this show,
yeah,
and do they set you up in an office? It's your first office, or they?
yeah, it was great. It was on the Disney lot. We had, because we had had multiple offers, we bypassed the staff writer level and we were immediately story editors,
Wow.
which means, I mean, what that basically, I'm sure anyone watching this knows there's a hierarchy in the writer's room, right? And you're all writers, but you have different titles and based on your level of experience, and usually start as staff writers. And the difference between a staff writer and a story editor is basically that staff writers do not get paid for their scripts. They get their weekly salary, but they don't get a script fee.
Uh,
So we got script fees, which was huge. But yeah, they set us up in our offices. Um, actually, it was, we were super excited. One of the people on staff was Charlie Kaufman,
oh,
who ended up during that show being so miserable writing on the sitcom that at night he stayed late and was working on this screenplay, and which turned out to be being John Malkovich. Um, Great story, actually. We were in our writer's room one day and we heard some noise and we looked out the window and there was a chimpanzee downstairs, like there was with a handler, like or whatever,
uh,
it's a lot, right? And we all looked out the window, and Charlie, who was always just kind of like, just the sweetest, quiet, funny, but just I don't know if he was checked out, but he lit up like we'd never seen him, and he just freaked out. And he ran downstairs. He wanted to meet the chimp, and he was playing with the chimp. And we are all fairly certain that that's where the inspiration for the whole chimp character in the movie came from. Uh,
probably, probably.
yeah, I'm sure.
So
I'll
you're
stand by that.
working. You got your first
Yeah.
office. Walk me through your very first writers meeting. Right? Do you have that meeting that we are like where you guys are all in a room and you pitch your ideas for the upcoming episode, or how did it work on the show?
I mean, in that one, it was a lot of listening to the showrunner,
Yeah.
Michael, and it's just, I mean, what do I say? He told us about the show. What, we'd all seen the pilot because they just made, back in the days, the old days when they would just make a pilot.
And
And then
remind
he
me who
just
was on it. Who
talked
was the
about,
cast?
he was really cool. He was just like, oh, it was Chris Maloney, who's on all the, I think it's the SVUs, with Mariska
Hmm.
Hargitay, whatever that show is. He's done a million. A guy named Dennis Boutsikaris, who's a really, you'd recognize him. He was great. He was on the Jackie Thomas show which was the Tom Arnold show
That was a funny
about
show.
a really funny show. He played the head writer on that. A guy named Julius Carey, uh, who I forgot what he was on, but he was on some really good show. And the other guy was Stephen Furst
All
from
right.
Animal House, who played
Yeah, yeah.
Flounder. Yeah, those were the main guys.
Now, was this cast easy to work with, or did they have a lot of demands on writers in terms
No,
of
no,
the
the best. Totally
very
cool.
good?
They were just the best. It was great.
Yeah.
I've
And
never worked with a bad cast, thankfully.
up until November, Christmas Carol, right? We'll
Yes,
get to
well,
that
yeah,
in a minute.
Christmas Carol.
Um, so you're working now. You don't have to give me a figure, but were like the checks, those were good. Those were good for you, right? You were like,
Yeah, I mean, they were great. They were great for us. I mean, we were a team, so we had to split a writer's salary.
right.
Um, but they were, yeah, I mean, I don't remember, but I think we were making like gosh, I want to say like 5 grand a week, but maybe we split that. I don't know. Whatever it was better than
Well, I see the
$690.
house, bro. I see the house. So obviously it was good. It was good.
It was decent. I mean, again, like for then it was fantastic. It's probably about what I'd be making today now, given the state of the business. But no, it was great. It was great. Can I tell you one great story, unless you have another question
Please.
for me?
No.
So, and this is my favorite personal show business story that happened to me, which was that Michael, my boss, Michael Jacobs, found out that we were being canceled. And he called us all into the writers' room. I think we had shot 8 episodes of this. I think maybe 5 had aired. And he called us all in the room and he said, so bad news, we're being canceled this afternoon. I got word. If you guys can write a script between now, 10 a.m., and 3 p.m., you will get paid for it. So, and we
Wow.
had no stories or anything. He's just like, I need 42 pages of script. And because it was kind of, I think he was pissed. It was kind of a fuck you. And so we just sat there and I remember, Rick and I, we split the script in half and I was writing, what's 3 plus 3? Well, three plus three? No, 3 times 3. That's 16. No, it's not, just to fill out the pages. And I didn't even type
Yeah.
fast. And we got paid. And, the scripts were 16 grand. So we each made an extra $8,000. And I just thought that was so cool. Like that was the best thing anyone's ever done.
Yeah, that's a cool thing for him to do. It's really early to get canceled 5 episodes in, or eight
Yeah,
episodes, but
I think
five in air.
so.
That's fast. But I guess they were less patient with these things then, right?
I guess
Did you sit there and
again, I don't.
go, "Damn, we picked the wrong show"? we did you did you at one point go, "Shit, we should have gone with that
I,
that why didn't we
no,
say
no,
yes to Dick Wolf and do this Law and fucking Order thing he wanted us
right.
for?"
Well, as I can't really remember. I think that David Allen Greer show ran a few seasons, but
Yeah.
I don't know about the others. And luckily, our boss Michael had another show on the air called Maybe This Time, which was Marie Osmond and Betty White playing a mother and daughter, and he just took the two of us and put us right on that show. We literally like moved our office down the hall and we're working the next week.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, did you like the experience working with Marie Osmond and Betty White?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, Marie Osmond was totally cool, really nice. We didn't interact with her that much. Betty White was
Right.
Betty White. You're just like, Betty White.
Was
Great
Betty
to be
White
around.
everything they say she was? I mean, she was, she had made a big stand with civil rights and she had kind of like later in life got kind of like put in this like iconic
Yeah, she was an
stratosphere of
icon.
personalities. And was she all of that?
Yeah, she was very funny. I mean, it's like, we didn't hang out with her outside of the
Yeah. Well,
show.
I mean, you still have a
It's all
working
very
relationship.
professional, but like, you can choose who to be when you're a person like that. And she just chose to be a delightful, engaged everyone. She knew how to, she worked the room well. And I think she truly enjoyed it. And she had also been my writing partner's um, celebrity contestant person on $20,000 Pyramid.
Okay.
So they had a little pass. So that was a little history. So that was nice. But yeah, she was great. She was great. Really
I
fun.
had a friend who went to dinner, like a group dinner, and she was right next to him. And like sometime towards the end of dinner, he felt her hand under the table and he got really uncomfortable. But what he ultimately realized, and I think I don't know, he may have actually said something. He said something to kind of like what are you doing? But he tried to do it in a way that wouldn't embarrass her. And then he realized what she was actually doing was trying to hand him money to pay the check for everyone. So when he
Amazing.
finally discovered she actually had
That's
money in
amazing.
her hand, and he felt like such an idiot, of course, because he's like, "What's going on here?" And then she was like sliding him money. Anyway, uh,
Maybe that was her cover story. Maybe she wanted to hand him some money for something else.
maybe. Hey, look, I'm
Maybe
nobody's
maybe it
judge.
was a
I'm no,
proposition.
yeah, I'm nobody's judge. But continuing, so you have
Yeah,
this. You work for a guy who clearly looks out for his people the best way he can. It sounds like,
but yeah, he was great. Loved him.
yeah.
Loved him. Loved him. Loved him.
And do you have a moment where it just got so crazy that you're like, why? am I in this fucking business? I mean, aside from November and A Christmas Carol, I know that's the craziest, but the second, is there a second crazy?
I wouldn't say crazy. Why am I in this business? It was, you have your, the first time you experience all the, cliched stuff that you hear about, getting, taken down the road so far and then like we're going a different way. Just all that stuff is heartbreaking, but
Yeah.
and you do question your choices and but no, not no. And then you just get used to it. It's nuts because for me at least, it's been like this. It's like you're rich, you're poor, you're rich, you're poor, you're rich, you're poor, and that's then you're like, why didn't I just take one of those stupid banker jobs that all my friends did, and now they're gazillionaires and miserable. Like
Well, then you
at least
stand
they're
up and you be like, damn it, my old man owned a circus.
that's right.
And I'll be
Exactly.
damned if I'm going
Exactly.
to go out like this. I mean, you have
Exactly.
that unique lineage to draw from because I'd imagine you have to be pretty inventive to own a circus, and that inventiveness can get passed down into problem solving later and with your kids. So I'm sure you get over it quickly. I
Maybe.
mean,
You
you
know what? I will say this to your question. So I never planned on being a writer. I didn't grow up writing. I didn't
uh,
study writing in school. I really fell into it as a guy who was arguably funny, right? So I never felt like as connected to or precious about my work as a lot of other way more talented people did. I learned in the room. I learned how to write. So I was almost like I was a TV writer before I was a writer. I was a TV staff writer before
mm,
I was a writer. So like I I didn't get, thankfully, I think, I mean, there's the good and the bad, but I don't get attached to things. So I never got like crushed creatively because I was like, okay, this is a business, this is a job I really like doing. I'm good with certain aspects of it and elements of it. But you know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
never had
yeah.
that like this like, brooding, depressed artist thing. I have like normal brooding, depressed middle-aged guy stuff, but you know what I mean? It was never about the artistry, if that
You
makes
know,
any
it's funny
sense.
you say that. It does make sense, and it's funny you say that because I know you to be so quick and so witty, and particularly when you're in work mode, because we had those meetings of trying to figure out a script for A Christmas Carol. There's a little bit of a ceremonial moment that goes on in like October where all the writers, I should say, not all the writers I know, but the writers I respect are invited to sit around a table and kind of talk the script out and figure out how it can be kicked into another gear. And I remember like we sat next to each other at that table,
Mhm.
and I remember like hearing you talk, and it was funny because the other writers would be talking at times, and you'd be like, I don't know, just really, it's the funniest, biggest fucking trend on the planet right now. Whatever, guys. It was like even in the
Oh,
meeting, your jokes, and your pitch, I guess what I would refer to as a pitches were funny. But even when they were like, people be like, no, I'm not so sure. Your afterthought was so funny. It was like sitting next to a kid in detention class who probably
this
shouldn't say anything, but was saying everything that was
smart
fucking
ass kid who just can't help
yeah.
himself. Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
but I made note of a lot of it, and a lot of it actually ultimately got stuff back in. But I just remember like we had lunches, we had meetings, and most importantly, as things were kind of getting fired up and close, you were super quick and super sharp with all the answers, like including above and beyond. Like the professionalism was unmatched in this capacity because you'd say, "Look, this is as it's written. This is my suggestion," but you would go above and beyond and be like, I don't think this should happen, and I don't think that should happen, and it was just so incredibly insightful, like from a producing or production supervising standpoint, that I was like, I don't understand why this guy isn't like running, Amblin for Spielberg. I mean, it was that incredible of an experience. So I have a lot of respect for what you're doing.
Oh,
You're kind
thank
of
you.
like you're telling this story like, oh, I never meant to be a writer, but for someone who never really planned on it, you are fucking damn good at it.
Oh, Ethan,
No, it's true, man. It's true. And
thanks.
I'll test it. So you got to Suddenly Susan after all that.
Yeah,
That's with
yeah,
Brooke Shields, right?
correct. Judd Nelson, Brooke Shields. Yeah,
How was
Kathy
Judd
Griffin.
Nelson? How was Judd Nelson?
Awesome.
Was he?
Yeah,
And
really. I really liked him. He was intense. He was smart. He was challenging. Um, but like, I mean, challenging, like creatively, like he was great. He was really cool. I really liked him.
Yeah. And Brooke?
Great. I mean, couldn't be nicer. Couldn't be like more of a contributor and a cheerleader. She was great.
Yeah. Was she
Uh,
was she married to Agassi at the time?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
and
how was he? How was he as a contributor?
never. I don't know if I ever even said hello to him. He was there. He would sort of be watching from the sidelines
Mm.
occasionally. He didn't
You
come
didn't
that
challenge
often.
him to a tennis game or anything?
I wish, man. I play tennis, and I remember hearing like when you go to Agassiz in Vegas, between the house, he's got his house and he's got a tennis court in the back, and between it, you walk down this path, and then you walk through. I don't know if this is true or not. This is what I heard, like a little mini, guest house type thing that's just got shoes in every size and rackets, and you get to like take what you want and go play, and then take it home. And I was like, that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Way to go,
Well,
Andre.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
No, it was fun.
So,
It was fun.
well, I know Peterman talks very highly of her. In fact, there was a couple of times, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago on a Christmas Carol to bring it back to that.
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause that's
Um,
what everything's about.
that's yeah, that is what everything's about. But I remember he said, "Look, we lost an actress due to an emergency," and he goes, "Let me call Brooke," and she wasn't in town. But it was that kind of like he had that kind of like instant idea of like, oh, she'll probably do it if she's here, like she's fun like that. And I thought that said a lot because you know what it's like in those meetings. A lot of times people have a hit list and they'll be like, not that one,
Right.
nope. But he was like, I'll call her right now and we'll see if she's here. And he called me right back and says she's not in town. She's bummed, but she wants to know the date for next year.
Ah. There was a
So
story about her. I don't know if it was true or not, but it makes sense that I remember when we were on the show that when she was like a teenager or something, she was walking with a girlfriend and like some guys were following them, not dangerous, just like fans. And they were kind of like, and she stopped and turned around and said, if you're going to follow us, why don't you just walk with us and talk with us? And they were like, okay. And like, that's
wow.
the type of person she was. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You score points there.
I mean,
That's
I'm
very
sure it was
cool.
in Englewood, New Jersey during the day. It wasn't, but still, yeah, she was super cool.
I mean, I remember like after Blue Lagoon, there was these movies like Endless Love that weren't really my kinds of films, but they were seen as like prestige films
Hmm.
that she was in, that were like on a double bill with like the new
Endless
Redford
Love was a
movie.
prestige film.
I felt like it was in the sense that I felt like that was a big movie. Like that was the marketing rollout for that gave us as kids thinking like, oh, that's an important movie. But
Wait,
maybe because
wait.
it also had the hit song that went with it. You know how they used to
Right,
do that?
right. I mean, Pretty
Now,
Baby was a prestige film, right? It was supposed to be the
I don't
first one.
know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, did you see it? I've never actually even seen it. I just remember we were, I don't know what we were going to see Megaforce or something in the theater next door, and it was playing, and our movie hadn't started yet, and so we were like, well, let's just see what this was about. And it was like 2 minutes of the song, and I'm like, I'm out. I'll just go hit the, I'll go hit the
Yeah.
snack bar. I'll kill my time there in the arcade and the snack bar, and then I'll bounce over. Because you know how we would do that, right? We'd have a ticket, and then we'd be able to before and after slip into other movies and
Oh,
kind of get
yeah, yeah.
see a chunk of it, if not the whole movie, depending on how relaxed the usher staff was.
Where was
Sometimes
this?
they Thousand Oaks, so I'm thinking UA
Oh,
Theater in the Oaks Mall,
okay.
or Melody Theater, where there was actually no supervision and you could stay there all day, and they'd see you leaving when like the the street lights were on, But she had done some really what movie I thought movies that were sort of had some hit value to them. And so she obviously cut her teeth in sort of a big setting.
Yeah.
But you look back, and so after suddenly Susan, and are you while you're working on all these, are you trying to develop something that you are going to be the showrunner on?
No. I
No.
I mean, I should have, and I would think about it, but then I just wasn't that guy. I was like, this is fun, and I want to like
Yeah.
spend the time I'm not in the room and not writing a script, doing other things. I wasn't,
Yeah.
and I didn't have that great idea, that I was really passionate about at that time
Who were some of the crazier showrunners and why?
that I worked with.
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy. Um, So my crazy showrunners that I've worked with might not have been good crazy, so I probably won't say so I don't think I really had any crazy fun showrunners. Um, I've had some, awesome showrunners. I mean, it's less fun to talk about on here, I suppose, but I've had some
Like who
great
were some?
showrunners.
Well, who are some of the awesome ones? Obviously,
Well,
Danzig
okay,
and
so
Peterman.
the first guy was, who gave us our first job. I'll be fair that Michael Jacobs was great and so much fun, except not except he he was they got to a certain point where he just didn't want to be in the writers' room anymore. And he would leave. And his number two is a guy named Bob Young, really talented guy. I think he'd been on Roseanne or something. He took over and Bob like kept the show running. Michael was sort of all over the place and Michael would leave the room and do other things. And then he got to the point where he would pull my partner and I out. And the first time we were like, what's going on? And we went into his office and he just had cards out and he's like, blackjack, $100 a hand. And we were like, okay. And so he would pull us out of the room to play blackjack 4 days a week for an
Wow.
hour in his room. And then his number two would come in. He's like, Michael, I need the guys in the room. And he's like, okay, 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 okay. And we kept a running tab. And that guy, when we lost, we had to pay up. But then he would play, when, we would switch who was going to be the dealer. And like when I was the dealer, he would play eight hands. He'd say 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. Now, thankfully the house usually wins, and it evens out. But like, and thank God there was never a huge swing and he walked away like you owe me 16 grand. But that was a very fun experience. Um, Danzig and Peterman on Suddenly Susan were just the greatest teachers and mentors, and really they were so inclusive, bringing us into casting, bringing us into editing, really instilling in us a respect for the actors because they were former actors, and just
Yes.
just telling us you're going to be in an audition, you're going to be in the room, you're going to see 50 people, you can't get tired even if they're not the right person. As soon as they walk through the door, you have to pay attention, give them respect, and they might be great for something else. And it was, it makes perfect sense, but like, it's basic humanity, but it was such a good lesson that I've, so grateful for and have passed on to other people. Then I ended up jumping ahead here, but I ended up, after Suddenly Susan, I had like a 4-year drought. It was when it was when Who Wants to Be a Millionaire came on, and was on 5 days a week and took away like 40 shows or something. It was a rough time. It was the first, like, oh my God, there's a lot of writers out of work. I ended up on a fake reality show called the Joe Schmo Show, which I don't know if you're familiar with,
No.
but it was like, the show Jury Duty?
Yeah.
It was Jury Duty, but 20 years earlier. It was the original. It was like the Truman Show. It was basically based on Big Brother. It was like a show like Big Brother where they put a bunch of people in a house and they vote people out every week and the last remaining guy wins 100 grand. But everyone was an actor except for one guy in the house. And he didn't know. And I was on the second season of it.
Pretty
The first
clever.
season, Kristen Wiig was on it.
Hmm.
It was a bunch of like incredible improv people. Anyway, the guys who ran that, Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, were the best. And they're two of my best friends now. And they went on from that to create a couple of movies, little things. They created Zombieland, and then they wrote all the Deadpools. They created Deadpool. So I think they have three of the top five grossing R-rated movies of all time.
Yeah.
So,
Fairly.
so those were my showrunnery experiences that were fantastic.
Yeah. Well, those are good ones.
Yeah.
Um, and I loved Peterman when he was on Square Pegs, actually.
Peterman on Square Pegs is just a delight. I
Yeah.
hope anyone who hasn't seen it looks that up.
Square Pegs is available on YouTube. All the episodes are there. The Halloween episode's there. The Devo episode, the Steve Sachs Dodgers episode.
My God, you are
The
a
Yeah, I mean
fan.
it was a fun show. I mean Bill Murray showed up on that show,
Is that
and I
right?
always yeah, and I always ask him. I'm like, dude, Peterman, you were in a scene with Bill Murray.
I did not know that. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah. So, and he always kind of flushes it, out like, long time ago, but he was actually good
Oh,
on a
please.
lot of
He's always dropping that in the rooms. Like, back on pegs,
it.
back on pegs.
Because I think that was actually started by a former Saturday Night Live writer, right? Wasn't it? I think. I don't know.
I
We
have no
don't know
idea.
the
Well, I
history.
know Sarah Jessica Parker was on it. I know that
She
from
was.
Wendy Jo
She,
Sperber. Amy, yeah.
yeah, yeah, those were the days. So, what was the next move when you work yourself out of this drought and you get through, you got this new job with these guys that go on to do Deadpool and at what point
Yeah,
did you come across Michael Levy again?
never, never. I heard that he moved to Leisure World in Laguna. I think he got out of the business. He was,
Leisure
yeah,
World.
yeah. Google him, folks. Um,
Google
um, there's
Google them,
stuff,
folks.
I think.
Uh,
So never ran into him. What are we still doing my career path?
no, well, I mean, I did ask you a question out of interest, but if you're
Oh,
tired of
well,
talking about
no, no,
yourself,
no, no, no. What? I'm not tired of
no,
anything.
go ahead. No, I mean,
No, what were
who
you going to
might
say?
interrupt you?
No, I actually have no idea what I was going to say.
Did you ever come across Joel Silver?
No. I mean,
Really?
again, I only talked to Joel once or twice. I like,
What was your impression of him, honestly?
I heard all the horror stories and he was totally nice.
Yeah, that's the thing too.
I thought
Bill
he was a
Daly and I.
good
What?
dude.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, he was like a good dude to me. Again, I had very little interaction with him.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on my pajamas, but maybe
I
this
remember
Christmas.
it's not even a Joel memory. I just remember walking into the room, we had fax machines back then, and this fax was coming in. They're like, go get a fax, go to the fax room. My boss yelled at me, and it came in and it was like, to Joel, I was watching it come up, to Joel from Jean-Claude Van Damme. And then it just said, he just written in cursive, he wrote, Joel, ready to do Van Dammage. Call me, Jean-Claude. I
Ah,
was like, this stuff's cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is fun.
And I
Um,
could see Joel Silver saying, "Well, you saw the facts, you heard the man. Get started.
yeah, Van Dammage time.
Yeah, make it happen. It's time for some Van Damage." It is interesting because the business has changed so much from 2000 when I got in it. You were in it. You were there much earlier, but to see when it was still something of like a storied element to it,
Yeah.
an environment, and now like we were saying earlier, we would suggest things like someone should do a movie about the mailroom or a show about the mailroom or the studio itself and the studio. Da, 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 da. Now I think they fully embraced this idea and this almost comedic concept of go ahead and make fun of us and
Oh,
take
yeah.
advantage of it. And it's just very interesting to see how it's. I have not seen too many things recently that I would say are um, that good. I'm trying to think. I recently saw Weapons. I saw Sing Sing. I thought that was excellent, but that was a while ago. Have you seen that yet?
Nope.
Do you follow films like you follow television? Do you
I
need to
don't
know what's
follow.
out there?
What?
Do you need to know what's out there as a writer? Do you kind of follow the TV shows and
I mean, there's so much that like it seems like I mean, I guess you do. I don't know the answer to that. They're so far ahead of what you're watching too, as far as development. So, you know,
what do you
I don't know.
watch?
What?
What do you watch?
I mean, I mean, I can tell you, I just watched the Mark Ruffalo miniseries. What was that called? God, it was really good. I forgot what it's called. Uh, I watch, I end up watching a lot of reality stuff, unfortunately.
But what? Real Housewives or where
No,
are you with it?
like Love is Blind stuff and
Hmm.
stuff like that. I guess I like it. My girlfriend likes it.
It's okay. Hey,
Um,
man, look, like I said, I'm nobody's judge. Go ahead,
I mean,
continue. Try to salvage this.
there are too many good shows. I mean, I finished the shows recently they're not new shows, but I finished Righteous Gemstones recently, which is I think just brilliantly funny.
Mm.
Um, I watch everything Vince Gilligan does, um,
Nice man.
stuff like that. That's what I hear. That's what I
Hmm.
hear, and I've heard him on some podcasts, and he sure seems like it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm not watching all that much right now. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm just trying to. I fall asleep early, so I just trying to just work and sleep. Um,
Look, I get it, man, and you're a man about town. Have you talked to Peterman recently?
yeah, yeah. I mean, we spoke, since Danzig passed, and I feel I checked it up on him because he's checking up on so many people because he's
Yeah.
taking on so much because he had to tell everyone, and as soon as he heard it, he got, I think, hundreds of calls and emails about how what's going on. So he's been real busy with that and taking care of everyone because he's that guy. Yeah, I talked to Peterman a fair
Well,
amount.
I remember Russ Woody referred to Gary Danzig as Dr. Danzig, that he would do like these deep medical dives, like PhD level medical dives.
Yeah,
And, I remember in the very beginning of our days with NMOSD, Gary Danzig got involved. And one of the things he did that was very nice was, I remember looking at like $2 million in hospital bills. And he goes, I got an acupuncturist in Santa Monica, Dr. Mao, of
now,
course. Yeah, everyone knows him.
yep,
He's a miracle worker, and you got to get your daughter in there. And I'm like looking at it, and it was one of those things where you had to schedule like months out. Dr. Mao is in demand,
yeah, yeah,
but and I'm like, I told him, I said, look, I don't honestly think I can afford this. Although, as a guy who's been slammed on a jujitsu mat or two, I know the value of acupuncture and I believe in it. I'm like, I don't think I. And I remember Donzig goes, "You got to get her there. I'll handle it. I'll handle it for now. Just do it." And I remember thinking that, I was really emotionally moved by that because there was no connection between us where he would step up and come to the rescue like that. But that's sort of demonstrated what kind of person he was, that he cared. And here he is, he's calling me from Sedona or someplace out,
yeah.
I was going to say out west, but we're we're further west than he was.
Abiquiu, New Mexico.
Yeah, and he was like, "When we get this situated, you'll come out and hang out at my house, and we'll get to know each other better." And I was telling this to Peterman, who really didn't have much of an idea about that, and was surprised. Have you worked with Russ Woody? Because he's the one who put me in touch with him initially.
No, I
Uh,
haven't, but I know of him through those guys.
yeah, and he's the missing writer on A Christmas Carol.
Right.
He's the he's the guy that writes from like Bosley and Charlie's Angels. He talks to us through a box on,
Well,
and
you said I remember you said something that because Russ and Astroff weren't there, that it was that much better this year. You had said something to that effect,
yeah, that
right?
may have been me. That could have been me. I love both those guys actually. I particularly love Astroff, and he's doing a Stumble on NBC, and I don't know
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they've gotten a season two approved yet, but it shows what kind of talent those guys had. It also shows, it's interesting. Writers can generate sort of a reputation. And I know that there were some people that lived in fear of Jeff Astroff. But I'll tell you, when it came to A Christmas Carol and that cause, that guy was 100% in and, showing up and doing everything he could do and, happy to come out on stage and talk it up and do whatever neat was required. And I think sometimes you find out about who people really are when there's a cause, when
Yeah,
there's a, and, and,
yeah.
and Russ is every bit of that too. I mean, thank God we had this Andrew Green at the table who kind of picked up the slack for those.
He's excellent, I hear.
Yeah,
Excellent.
he's incredible. I'm going to give the audience a real world solution by Andrew Green. We needed a Tiny Tim. We weren't sure who was going to do Tiny Tim. Andrew Green said, I've got an idea. And this is real. He goes, how about Mankind, the wrestler? And everyone said that would be hilarious. And that shows you what kind of out of the box thinking Andrew Green can offer up. I don't know if I ever told you um, how much you meant to that production and how much you meant to that cause. And did you get your certificate from the state of California?
I did not.
Then I have it here because I have a bunch because I know I have Jeff
Coming
Astroff's
over.
too and Russ Woody's. So we're gonna have to meet up, and I'm gonna have to drop that off to you because you've certainly earned that. That's gonna have to be on
Great.
your wall.
Nice.
Um,
I have a lot of
so
wall space.
yes, so for Andrew Green moving
Yeah.
forward, what is the next big thing?
Next big thing. I don't know. I don't know. I'm writing a movie right now at a fun little Hallmark movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Takes
Did
place
you?
in, it's your
Is it a?
typical Hallmarky love story, but in the world of a Westminster type dog show.
Okay,
So,
that's good. That's good.
uh, yes.
Did you
Uh,
see where Saturday Night Live did the Halloween series of Hallmark movies take a stab at Halloween, and it's
no,
basically the Christmas model, but put
that's
he's a
funny.
slasher and she's a writer on holiday to see her family.
That's amazing. That's amazing. She's a type A, right?
Yeah, yeah. Will they ever fall in love? Will they see eye to eye?
That's
And
really
it's
good.
like,
That's like when they put that video where they put The Shining to what's
oh,
that was a Peter
Jack's a
Gabriel
writer.
song?
Yeah, it's a comedy. Yeah, they put it to Mulberry Hill by Peter Gabriel, and it's like
Salisbury Hill?
Salisbury Hill. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Salisbury
yeah.
Hill. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
God, that's funny.
It's so well done. I mean, somebody did a series of those. They did like Mary Poppins as a horror story, The Shining as a love story, and Meet Jack, he's a writer. Meet
Yeah.
Danny, and it's like he needs a father. So
Really
good.
funny.
Nicholson, by the way, incredible talent. I just saw him in something. Oh, I saw A Few Good Men last night
Mm.
for other reasons, for a Rob Reiner thing coming up. And literally forgot how much talent is jammed into one movie. But
No.
Nicholson kind of steals it. I know, I heard he's been dying to get a script or some ideas from you, by the way. Nicholson,
Yeah. Okay. Good. 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 I'll
he wants
reach
to get
out.
into television.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, well, you'd be the man to do it. And the personal life of Andrew Green, everything's good with you?
Everything's cool. Got my health. Got the hair. My pig is still alive.
Do you really have a pig?
I do. I have a. Let's see if you can see him.
Now,
Uh,
how does one get a
he's
pig
that
as a
white
pet?
thing on for there. Anyway, how does one end up with a
Yeah.
pig?
Yeah.
I mean, the short version is I was living in Malibu at the time, and we had chickens. One of my chickens got attacked by another one of my chickens. I took the chicken to the vet. The chicken got attacked again after 16 stitches, brought the chicken back to the vet. The chicken didn't make it. I was crying on the ride home on the phone with my girlfriend, and she said, I'm getting you a pig. And I said, yeah, no, good, get me a pig. And then we ended up with a 3-pound baby pig. She and I broke up. I moved back into the city with my pig.
Okay.
And
So
that was 15 years ago,
it's like the movie Babe, basically.
kind of. So pig
My
in the city.
neighbors my neighbors had a pig. I didn't know where they got it, but some days it would get out when they weren't home. And the neighbors would just report to each other, "Hey, there's a pig cruising up the street." We're like,
They are, I do not recommend it, and they are the best pets. They're so fun. They're so smart and sensitive and quirky, and you can't really board them, and you can't go anywhere on vacation. So don't get a pig, but go rescue a pig because they're pigs that need rescuing. So I'm giving mixed messages.
is
They're the
there
best.
really like a pig rescue system
Oh,
where you
yeah.
can really?
Because everyone hears these things like they're teacup pigs. They only grow to be this big, which isn't true. And then they go out and get them, and the pig's 20 pounds after a year, and then after 5 years, he's 100, and they can't deal. And they expect it to be like a dog because they're quote smarter, but they don't do the same things, and then they get rid of them, and it's horrible.
No, my neighbor's was like a small horse. It was like a rhino. It got really big. It was very friendly, and there was nothing to worry about. And we were all kind of in on it in the sense like, okay, he's out. I remember once I had to corral him because he was starting to get out, and
Yeah,
he got into the front yard. I'm like, I'll go over there and I'll try to shield him and walk him in back into the backyard, which he wasn't having any of.
right.
But I thought this is really an interesting experience. I'll be able to tell everyone I tried to.
Corral a pig.
Yeah, it's not my typical Tuesday, but there you are. What else are you doing? What else are you up to? Give us something exciting before we close out.
Uh,
Your probation officer said you could only do a 60-minute show today. So
great. Yeah, oh God, this went way longer. Just kidding. Nothing.
it only feels longer. It only feels longer.
I'm going to the Sphere to see the Backstreet Boys this summer. Woohoo. That's
I'm,
the
uh,
excitement of my life.
that's
Um,
not, I mean, that's
that's not
probably going
great.
to be a
It's not
fun
great.
night.
It's not great. Yeah, yeah. I've never been to the Sphere.
No, I mean,
Um, Yeah, no, no, just being happy that
Who watches the pig when you're in Vegas seeing the Backstreet Boys?
my neighbors do.
And
My
your
neighbor has
pig
become a
doesn't
pig
tear
too.
things up?
Oh, no, no, the pig is no, never.
Really?
Pig is the least destructive animal I've ever had. He's got arthritis now, so he just sort of lays in his bed and he just goes outside when he needs to. He has a doggy door.
It's gold. What's that? What are you showing?
There's
Is
a
that it?
doggy door
There it
right
is.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, right. It's
Look
my
at
Fritz
that.
Coleman. Not very good at that. So yeah, that's it.
Well, man, I think personally, you got an exciting summer ahead, even if it is just the Backstreet Boys right now. Are you going to come back and do more Christmas Carol with us, or have you had
Hell
enough of it?
yeah. Well, yeah.
You, dude, you were such a vital part of that. And I think it was so fun having you involved too. It really lightened the
That's
mood.
really sweet. It was great for me. I mean, it was just, first of all, it was just fun to be, we had a couple of mini writers' rooms, and that was
Hmm.
just, I think all the writers said the same thing, especially Mark
Yeah,
Amato. But yeah,
yeah.
it was great.
Mark Amato he's got the right personality for it. And he's so quick. He had a similar start. He started off, I think, was it the ICM mailroom?
Probably.
And he ended up getting on a desk and like writing jokes for SNL's Weekend Update.
Hmm.
Oh no, I think he bounced to Brillstein Gray, and he was writing jokes for Weekend Upstate. Somebody put him up, like somebody like demeaned him, and it's like, if you're so funny, you write the fucking jokes. And he's like, okay. So he'd write them and he'd fax them in. Those are the days of the fax machine, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Right.
And he'd fax them in, and they would start using them. And then all of a sudden, once they like something happened where they clicked, they were getting these jokes faxed in from LA. They liked it. They wanted to know who he was and meet him. And when that happened, his boss was like, "Who the fuck do you think you are sending jokes to SNL's Weekend Update?" And he's like, "Well, you told me to do it." So I started doing it. And it was not met with the same kind of enthusiasm that he initially had embraced. Anyway, but
Ethan, I didn't come on here to talk about Mark Amato.
I know. I'm sorry. Forget it. Forget it. I apologize. But what but he did come on. Mark Amato did come on last week to talk about Andrew Green. So maybe
Okay,
you now
fair
feel
enough.
bad.
Okay, I love Mark Amato.
But I did think that was a unique experience to see you guys in the room kicking ideas around, and also to see how different. Like Mark Brazil came totally prepared. Like you were prepared, and you had all your notes and you had all your jokes.
Hmm.
And I will say, I think about 75% of your jokes got in there. Wouldn't you agree? A lot of
Yeah,
it.
it was the 80s. It was in the 80s.
I mean, there was some funny stuff that got in there. And the actors have the final pass at it. And
Yeah.
but having you there for the read through, having you get involved from the very beginning, that was a very, very good experience and a good thing for us and a great thing for
Well,
the
likewise.
production.
Excited to do it again.
Well,
Now that I have to.
now that I have to. And on that note, I'm out of here. Andrew Green, you clearly have better things to do, but you're very gracious as always to give us a few minutes of your time. You are one of our favorite people around here, and you clearly are a hero. Anyone listening knows this guy stepped up huge for the kids last November and was an exceptional talent, an exceptional piece of a combat radio Christmas carol. If you laughed, as we did a lot of, I cried, but some other people laughed. You were
Yeah.
probably laughing at his jokes. What does 6'7" mean? Is that the joke, 6'7"?
Uh, Google it.
There you have it. Andrew Green, everybody. Thank you for
All
your
right.
time, buddy. Good to see
All
you.
right. Good seeing you too. Take care.
They come out of darkness, sometimes with thunder, sometimes with lightning. Their presence means death. The prison master was afraid of him. The guards were afraid of him. The town was afraid of him. Lucifer is coming for you. Rest easy, Jack Carr said in a low tone. You're in the final 30 seconds of your life. No quarter. No quarter. Kill all masters. Coming soon